What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily Channel. As you can tell, look, we got a little North Face on. It's October, and it is exactly 1 week till the start of the NBA season. Yes, that means it's 1 week and 1 day until the start of the Celtics season as they tip off Wednesday, October 22nd against the 76ers. Will Joel Embiid be out there? Will he be in a brace? Will Paul George be playing basketball? No, but we're getting really close to the start of the season, and it's just beautiful. I'm ready. The weather's turned a little bit in the Northeast, but in a way that's got me excited for sports, excited that you're here, excited that the Patriots are now in first place in the AFC East. Shout out the Atlanta Falcons, baby. So I don't know. I'm just, the vibes are good right now. Even though it's very early and very dark in here, the vibes are very good. We're going to just, bounce around the league a little bit. Have some fun today. There was some Missoula news yesterday. We're going to do a gain-lose segment, some trade target, which I'm now realizing. Let's all realize this together. Zakarian here in the third cryon down put trade targer. Let's see. We fixed it in the second one, but in the first one, and that's how the sausage gets made, baby. I want to give you a peek behind the curtain, authentic content where you can learn that my spelling piss poor. Anyways, appreciate everybody tuning in. Before we get cooking, just hit the subscribe, like the video, get involved in the chat. It's more fun when you guys are engaged, so keep it coming in the comments. And then, hey, listen, if you guys have feedback of stuff you'd like to see as we get deeper into this new NBA season, let me know. Because I'm open. I'm open for growth. I'm open for change. Just like Joe Missoula. Interesting story yesterday. I believe it was on CNLS Media. Let me actually get the official quote here from Mr. Missoula. But he seems like he doesn't love what he gets. What's the right phrasing here? Doesn't the perception of him may not be the reality. And the reason this topic came up is yesterday. I thought this is a really good comment from Anthony Simons on. This is from Bobby Krivsky. He said Anthony Simons on building a relationship with Missoula. Building a relationship off the court, I think that started as soon as I found out I got traded. We've been building a great relationship. I know a lot about his family. He knows a lot about mine. It helps me on the court when he's trying to hold me accountable and push me to be the best version of myself. I feel like we've been hearing a lot of this offseason whether it was Missoula, I believe it was at Utah State. I forget what college he was at with Nehemias Queta this offseason, and they had some talk. Derek White, remember, he went out to Colorado, spent some time with Derek White. Tatum has mentioned how he's been in rehab with him basically every step of the way. Jaylen Brown has mentioned some stuff, Peyton Pritchard too. But it's funny because I think the perception around him is not necessarily that kind of guy, right? It's that he's like, oh, it's crazy Joe, man. And I mean, I'm guilty of this too. I think part of it is from some podcast experiences he's had where he's been like, just a little bonkers out there talking about the town as aggressively as he does. And then, just for like, even me, like I talked about it too, where like in this preseason, he's just had such a quick yank, right? Where like guys miss an assignment and then all of a sudden they're out the game right away, right? And so like Joe went out there and talked. This is Bobby Manning from Celtics CLNS said, it's not Missoula ball, but new players join the Celtics knowing him for the viral presser clips. And he said, it's unfortunate that it's gotten to that point. I don't want it to be. You have to adapt to Joe. No, we have to work together. And I really do think, like, and this, maybe this is a bigger magnifying glass societally speaking. I don't know. But that we take out the extremes of it all instead of peeling back the mask or the layers a little to get like a real feel for the person. And all things all reporting that we've seen in this offseason specifically, but I think in seasons past, is how connected Missoula is. And I mean, maybe because of the intensity of his post-game press conferences, or like, honestly, he just seems like a very intense dude when he's coaching on the sidelines, that kind of gets lost in the sauce, like the personal touch. And I'm somebody who, prior to being this YouTube savant, was in the higher education world, doing community development and leadership building. And so that stuff to me always matters a little bit more. And so maybe I weighed a little bit more heavily. But I think, like, especially at the pro level where these dudes are making so much money, I think like creating, to quote the young people, creating an aura, but creating this environment where players feel, I wouldn't say okay to make a mistake, they feel like they're held accountable when they make a mistake, which, so they're not going to get beaten down, but they are going to have to learn from the mistake so that they don't make it again if they're going to have the opportunity to continue to play. I think creating those types of environment where it's like an amoeba, a team that's all holding each other accountable. It's not Missoula ball, but it's Celtics ball, right? So if Luka Garza, like we saw the other night, he misses the defensive assignment and doesn't close out, or Jaylen Brown, it doesn't matter if it's JB or Luka. You're both going to get called out, both by Missoula and the guys on the team. And when everybody's kind of moving in that same direction, rowing the boat in the same way, if you will, you're going to go further. And I think this year it's more important than ever. I mean, there are challenges when you're coaching a championship caliber team because the stakes are so high, right? Especially when you're expected to win. I feel like that's a big boulder weighing you down. And now in this team, it's just that's why this year I think is going to be fascinating. And maybe I'm just creating this narrative so that if this team is just barely above 500, I'm still having a real good time watching Celtics basketball. But I think that's what's going to be so fascinating about this because you don't have those superstars to rely on. No Tatum, no Horford. I mean, I just called Al Horford a superstar, but you get it. Like no Porzingis and Holiday. Like this is a different group. And to watch them gel and kind of overcome the adversity of like the lack of depth, the lack of experience, the lack of continuity. Like how is Missoula going to coach a team like this versus the teams that he's had before? And I like, again, everything that's coming out of the camp sounds good. It sounds like the vibes are great. And it's in like, again, if you want to be a skeptic, it's easy to have good vibes when you're 0-0. You haven't lost a game yet. I mean, preseason W's don't count, but you haven't lost a game yet. So it's easy to be like, yeah, actually, things are great. But then when you're 2-7, it feels a little different. So I'm curious to see how this is brought into the start of the regular season. And let's actually look quickly at the Celtics start of the season. So I mentioned their first game against the 76ers, but let's kind of like roll through their schedule. So they have one preseason game left, I believe, right? Yeah, so they play tomorrow against Toronto. This one's at home. But let's look at the start of the season because it's no cakewalk, right? So you get Embiid at home. We assume Embiid's going to play, right? I think if both teams are healthy, Celtics have like a legit shot. My guess is it's going to be like a pick'em style sports bet. Like the betting line would be like a pick'em or like maybe Celtics -1.5 if Embiid's playing. But if Embiid's not playing, they should be favored. Anyway, so they get the 76ers. Then 2 days later, they go to New York. So the second game of the season against the Knicks, and then the third game of the season against the Pistons. That is like not the easiest of schedule, right? All three teams, we'll say two of the three teams are predicted or projected to finish ahead of Boston. And then they go to New Orleans, followed by the Cavs. They get the 76ers again in their first group game for the NBA Emirates Cup, which, real quick, this is the last year they're doing both the semifinals and the finals in Las Vegas for the Emirates Cup in December. We're going to be out there making some content. Hopefully the Celtics will be there with me. But if you want to come to Vegas in December, come hang. They get the 76ers, but then it's Houston, and then Jazz, Wizards, Magic twice, Magic back-to-back, 76ers again, Grizzlies, Clippers. This is like all in the first couple of weeks, and then they get a couple against the Nets, Magic, Pistons, Timberwolves. This is a tough schedule out the gate for Boston. And so I think, like, man, if you could just grind out, if you can get through November, and I know this is not like the normal rosy colored glasses, if you could just like grind through November in 500, stealing some wins against New York or an inexperienced Orlando team, you got to win those games against teams like the Nets, Memphis, stuff like that, like the Jazz. It's just, this is going to be a tough start to the NBA season. I honestly, I'll be, again, peek behind the curtain. When I pulled up this schedule, I thought I was actually going to be like, vibes are good. I'm now a little bit more nervous about the start of this schedule. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's talk a little bit about most to gain and to lose. Thought we could do a little fun stuff here. And this is based on some of the preseason stuff we've seen so far. I'm like, and we talked about it yesterday. People were in the comments being like, "Why didn't you?" I forgot to mention the Josh Minot dunk. That was hell. Minot. I mean, it was awesome. Throws it down, but the celebration after, he gave us the why not Minot. I love that he's leaning in. But I do think Josh Minot is someone who is really, really like the runway is there for him to steal some minutes here. So I think Minot is somebody that has a ton to gain. Jordan Walsh, I feel like the left adductor injury, the timing of that was pretty unfortunate because it did feel like Part of the reason we're getting so much Minot, I think, is because Walshy hasn't been able to get out there as regularly as he had hoped. I think some of those minutes would have been spread around, and Walsh would have had the opportunity to kind of grab those minutes by the horns. So we'll have to wait and see when Walshy comes back and what kind of shape he's in. But I think Walsh and Minot are two guys who like really have this opportunity to establish themselves as rotation guys in this team. Because I do think the Celtics and Missoula specifically are going to be looking around and be like, well, listen, like defensively, we are going to be a problem. And not in the way that people put on TikToks like, Moses Malone was a problem. No, not like that. They're going to be like, the defense is legit a problem. And so, like, I think anybody that's able to come in and be like an agent of chaos on the defensive end in a positive way, I think has the opportunity to get some run in there. On the flip side, the guys that I'm nervous about right now, we spent a lot of time talking about Cada yesterday, but man, the Baylor Shireman minutes have been tough so far, and I do think he is going to have to. Man, he is going to have to like really step up here if they're going to have if he's going to have an opportunity to jump in there, because I think the people around him, the players around him have stepped up in this way, right? And I think what we've been seeing from Minot, I was kind of hoping to see from a Shireman. I was hoping if that shot was going to fall, I thought the shot was guaranteed. Like, I was like, oh, the playmaking has to step up. He needs to not be a liability on the defensive end. And those parts of his game have gotten a little bit better. Not considerably better that it's going to make up for lack of shooting, but like at least it's gotten a little bit better. But the shot has just not been there in the preseason. And as the saying goes, shoot or shoot. So maybe he shoots himself way back into it. But I am a little bit nervous about Shireman. And then the Cada stuff, I thought Luka Garza was like going to be a fringe rotation guy that played like 10 minutes a game. Just because defensively, he really is a nightmare. I think what he's bringing to the table, screen setting, is pretty fun. And I think that is very useful on the offensive end. But there was never a question, could Luka Garza be effective on the offensive end? You know he can stretch the floor. We know he can screen set. I thought he was going to make, I could see Missoula just being rock hard for Luka Garza on the offensive end and then being the opposite on the defensive end when Luka Garza gets down there. So I really didn't. I thought the defense was going to outweigh the offense and he wasn't going to be able to be out there for too much. But I think because of the way Cade has been playing, and again, maybe this is overreaction theater, and that once the season starts, Nemi's going to be out there and he's going to be moving in the right way, finishing plays, rotating correctly on the defensive end. But right now, it feels wide open. And again, I thought for sure after the weekend of games, after playing on Friday and Sunday, we'd get some reporting. Maybe Keita would be talking to. Is it Keita or Keita, by the way? I need a Portuguese brethren to let me know. I thought we were going to get some like reporting on it. Maybe yesterday was a holiday, so we didn't get any. But maybe we'll get some today. Just something to keep in mind, though. Something to keep in mind. What about? I'm curious what you guys thought. Your thoughts, most to gain, most to lose. I mean, I guess like financially speaking, Anthony Simons has the most to gain. I know we've talked about this ad nauseum at this point, so I apologize, but Simons right now is in this weird spot where, like, as a Boston fan, he's in a weird spot because if he balls out, if he shows that he can be effective on a team that's trying to win, not a tanking type team, and like hold his own on the defensive end, but also go lights out on the offensive end, that we are going to see Anthony Simons get paid. And based on the Celtics accounting, it's not going to be by Boston. He's going to get a big old check. If he doesn't do that, for him to stay with Boston, I feel like he needs to underachieve this year. And I don't really see that happening either. But financially speaking, Simons has the most to gain. He could get a big old bag. If he shoots like 39 to 41% from three on the volume that he's going to be taking, because he's going to be getting the most open looks of his career will be happening this season. He's going to get wide open looks. If he's able to knock down the three ball, if he's able to continue to the offensive playmaking that we know he can do, and then just be okay defensively, just not be a mark on the defensive end, then he really is going to get a big old bag. So he's got the most to gain as well. I also think Missoula has a ton to gain, just like credibility-wise. I think he's already considered a pretty good coach league-wide. I think fans are still both fans of Celtics and just fans of ball. I don't know if he gets the correct respect that he probably deserves as a head coach. I know some of you in the chat don't feel that he does a good job. He just shoots threes. That's all they do is they shoot threes. I think if he's able to, again, anything over 500, I know that's a low bar. Some of you are like, 49 wins, bro. Anything over 500, he should be coach of the year. He should be coach of the year. He should be. I do think he does a really good job. So he's got a ton to gain, anyways. All right, I want to do a little trade target stuff. I was watching some. Or trade Targer, if you will. I was watching some league pass, some preseason this weekend and last night too, and I'm trying to get a feel for like the Western Conference, because again, I know we're doing the Celtics Daily here, but you can go check out the NBA bit, which, by the way, a week from today, we get the Marathon Show, giving away NBA tickets, giving away cold hard cash, giving away some other NBA experiences, so come hang out with us on the NBA bit. NBA bit with Mike Zakarian at noon Eastern on Tuesday, all the way till the tip of the very first game. We're going to be doing a bunch of over there, but what I was going to say was I was checking in on some of the other preseason teams, and the Dallas Mavericks are such a fascinating team because, like Cooper Flagg, as advertised, man, he's going to be awesome. But Anthony Davis is so adamant about playing the 5. I mean, playing the 4, not playing the 5, excuse me. He wants to be a power forward. But in this league, especially with the Mavericks roster, your 4 needs to be a threat to shoot the ball. I don't even mean shoot the ball from 3, but like shoot the ball from beyond the foul line. And AD's jumper has just been like slowly swirling around the toilet the last couple of years. And they've got this weird squad, right? Because they're starting 5. They like defensively, they could be an absolute nightmare outside of D'Angelo Russell and Klay Thompson, right? But they could do something like they could play Cooper Flagg at the point guard, which they did last night. And you have Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington, both guys who can defend basically 2 through 5. I don't know if they can defend 1, but 2 through 4, 2 through 5. And can knock down a shot, can extend the ball, extend the range while Cooper can handle the ball. So you got Cooper, you got PJ. Then they've got like Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, and Anthony Davis. Okay, I don't know. I feel like they need to make a move. Now, yesterday during my NBA bid show, somebody was like, "Could Anthony Davis go to Boston?" And it was basically Anthony Davis. It'd be Anthony Davis for Simons, and then you're going to have to put a couple other salaries together. It's probably like Simons, Hauser, somebody else that I'm forgetting, and then like some picks for AD. Now, that answers a question for this year, like who's your big, even though he's already said he doesn't want to play 5. Listen, let me get ahead of you. I don't want to do this. I mean, the idea of having AD, JB, and Tatum together healthy at the same time, along with like Pritchard and Derek White, or maybe Derek White has to be included in the AD trade. Maybe it's White and Simons, I think it was, because it's going to get to like $50 million. Anyways, I think it's garbage. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested. But it did start making me think, like, would they move somebody like Daniel Gafford, who I believe makes like $20 million a year? And that I'm a little bit more intrigued by. Having Danny Gaff as a 5, because I think that's the type of money the Celtics will be able to spend on the 5. And I think he answers a lot of questions. He rim protects. He can rim run. You're not going to stretch the floor with Danny. I don't know. He doesn't like to be called Danny, I don't think. I should stop doing that. You're not going to stretch the floor with him, but I do think it's intriguing. I don't know. I don't think you do that right away. I don't think that's a trade you make in September. It's not September. It's October. In October or November. I think I'm team. Let's wait till January. I want to see what we have. I want to give this team an opportunity to gel. I want these young guys to get a chance to actually get some run in and then see what it looks like, But let's go from there. All right, hit the subscribe. Hit the like button. Do all the things. Let's get to some of your comments from yesterday. What did we get from you guys yesterday? Let's hit it. Appreciate everybody. There was a lot of comments yesterday. A lot of comments. It was good to see. Let's see. Matty Cards, something that we were talking about. He both said like the positive and the negative. Baylor's going to struggle, I think, till the midseason, but I'm sure he will snap out of it. So, all right. So your team, he shoots himself out of it. I hope so, man. I hope so. I'm rooting for Shireman. I want to get some love from him, but he's been rough. The ball has not been falling. And then Matty also said Minot is a beast. I'm pleased with him and Hugo. Yeah, Hugo's a name we haven't mentioned, man. He looks, again, I think Hugo's going to be way more impactful when our team is winning a ton of games, when Tatum's back. And that's all he's asked to do is just, like, shoot the gaps, do the small things. That stuff is going to be good. But, yeah, a lot of chat just being like, hey, we like what Minot is. All right, AJB in the chat says, I think the preseason has confirmed what we already knew. This team will be fine on offense. It will struggle overall against bigger teams. I mean, that is something we should talk. Like, if you are a sports bettor, not financial advice, or a fantasy guy, whoever the Celtics are playing, whatever bigs, just take their rebounds. There was like 2 years ago, I think, when the Bucks first acquired Dame, I made a small fortune just betting on guards going against the Bucks. And I remember it was like the first game of the season. I think it was Tyrese Maxey just absolutely torched him. But anyways, back to this. Especially with lineups that can't stretch defenses and go 5 out, I'm excited to watch some of the pleasant surprises you talked about. Why not, Minot, and Boucher. Yeah, the Boucher stuff has been fun. Also, shout out Lambapalooza, who reminded me to talk about the Josh Minot throwing it down and then doing the reaction was great. And then CS Guest says, I know it was a preseason game, but Simons is looking good in this offense. It's a contract year for him. I think he's going to ball out this season. And then he said, do fans still want to get rid of him? I know I'm the one that's been like pounding the drum for the trade. Let me just be clear. I am pro Simons. I like Anthony Simons. I think he's fun. I think he'll play well. The only reason I'm talking about trading is because we don't have his contract ends this year. And the Celtics are still over the tax. It's the only reason. So, like, by losing him, we're going to have to pay him anyways. We're like Sam Hauser already under contract, right? And I know, like, the games are different. But anyways, yeah, not anti-Simons, pro-Simons. I promise. I promise. And I promise to be back tomorrow. How about that, huh? Thanks again for tuning in. Hit the subscribe. Let's get these numbers up, baby. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.